John Adams was a leader of the American Revolution. Served as the second president from 1797 to 1801. He attended Harvard, he was a lawyer, and he's a Federalist. XY affair resulted in the Quasi War, a naval confrontation. Accomplishments: he successfully defended British soldiers involved in the British Boston Massacre, was a leading member of the Continental Congress, helped negotiate the 1783 Treaty of Paris. Some fun facts about John Adams: he never owned any slaves. His last words were, "Thomas Jefferson survives." He was the first president to live in the White House.
George Washington was a Virginian plantation owner, served as a general and commander-in-chief of the colonial armies during the American Revolutionary War. He later became the first president of the United States from 1789 to 1797. George Washington created the three branches of Constitution, and that's the Congress, courts, and presidency. His debt relief plan was to make a tariff, put 5% tax on all imports, and he taxed whiskey, which was a high demand in these times. George Washington, on April 22nd, 1793, declared the national neutral in the conflict between France and Great Britain, threatened legal proceedings against any American providing assistance to any country at war. The Jay Treaty established a base upon which Americans could build a sound national economy and assured its commercial prosperity. The Pinckney Treaty was a friendship between the United States and Spain, so we have an ally and we can benefit from these goods that they are selling. George Washington was a people's man and acknowledged the importance of the Native Americans, saying that they were the highest priority and wanted to protect them because they were the founders of our land. Whiskey Rebellion. George Washington put a tax of 5% on imports of taxed whiskey because it was a high demand and a very popular item in these times. The Public Land Act was 740 acres of available land that you could buy for $2 an acre. And this made land available to the public and accessible for farmers and anybody who wanted to grow, farm, or do anything along those lines.
Overall, Washington's biggest accomplishment was that he was the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War. He also led the U.S. in the victory of the decisive land battle of the Revolutionary War. He didn't seize power due to his commitment to American republicanism. He was the first president. In the rise of the political parties, Washington warned the people that political factions may seek to obstruct execution of the laws created by the government. They began to form during the struggle over ratification of Federal Constitution of 1987. In 1976, the Federalistic, Democratic, and Republican Party existed. In the importance of the welfare address, Washington believed that if the U.S. made permanent allies with countries, it could lead the U.S. into conflicts.
Good. Thomas Jefferson was born in 1743 on a plantation in Virginia. He graduated from William and Mary in Virginia, where he studied for 15 hours a day. He then went to study law. He began working as a lawyer in 1767. In 1775, with the Revolutionary War underway, Jefferson was selected as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress. He was not a great public speaker, but he was a great writer, and was asked to draft the Declaration of Independence. In the first presidential election, Jefferson ran against Adams and lost, but then beat him in 1800 to become the third president. He then purchased the Louisiana Territory for France for $15 million in 1803. The purchase doubled the size of the U.S., and it was more than 820,000 square miles, and extended between the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico to present-day Canada. Jefferson had Lewis and Clark to explore his new purchase and provide more info about the geography. Most Americans approved the Louisiana Purchase, but a constitutional problem occurred. Federalist judges controlled most of the court, which caused annoyance for him. The main problem was his own cousin, John Marshall. In 1804, Jefferson was re-elected, receiving all but 14 votes. This term was marked with difficulties. His vice president created his own party, the Quids. Jefferson tried to avoid war, which caused him to break alliances. He sought to maintain U.S. neutrality. The main problems for him abroad were the pirates. And a fun fact about Jefferson is that he popularized ice cream in the U.S.
Overall, Thomas Jefferson was the most influential out of the three. He did the most for our country, such as being the author of the Declaration of Independence, which gave us separation from England, a formal declaration of war, and new theory of government. He also purchased the Louisiana Territory, which doubled the size of the U.S. Even to this day, he is still the most influential to our country.